Hi, folks. Welcome back to Just Ask George, the show where we explore everything, the entire universe around structured finance, corporate finance. I'm David Wolf here with George Lovato Jr. He's the president and founder of BH Capital.
Dude.
And the head dude, sorry. The head dude. He likes that head dude thing. Arrow, please? Okay. So this is one of our, well, they're all favorite segments because we wouldn't do them if we didn't like them, right? Stupid Without a License. And for these segments, we always delve into the annals of your experience as a merchant banker.
Annals.
Sorry, annals. It is the internet, of course. And, George, you've got a lot of experience with a lot of stupid without a license stories.
Soon to be an ebook and all of these videos interwoven into the narrative part of the story.
Right,
we're kind of excited about, we've only got a few more sessions to tape, and we'll be complete with that.
I love it.
Donamundo.
And so today, on Stupid Without a License, we're going to talk about appraisals and or a personal opinion. I guess there's a story relating to the value of something.
The value of something.
Yes.
This is the one story in the book that I think is most illustrative of a stupid without a license. I mean, it really is. The basis of it was a client comes to me and he's got these restaurants, and the bank is more than happy to have him move these notes. And the bank made a soft introduction from him to me, and he comes right out of the box and says, I need you to fix this problem for me. I said, okay, great. So I said, in talking to him, I said, this is just strictly a real estate refinance, correct? He says, yes. I said, do you know the values? What are these individual properties worth? Mm-hmm. And I had visited the properties. I'd been given the grand tour. And he said, oh, each one will come out at $1.5 million or better.
Okay.
And I'm listening, and I said, are you sure of that? And he says, oh, I've got an old appraisal on one of the properties, and they're all cookie cut of the same the same floor plan. Mm-hmm. They'll be within $100,000 of So I said, well, let me see that appraisal. Mm-hmm. So I read the appraisal, and there was, after a long review, a lot of fiction in there, and it was done by a new appraiser. His little credential list in the back, I think, had 2 other commercial engagements. The rest were all residential. And sort of the leap in logic that he made continually through his narrative and his comps weren't germane to these properties. Okay, so I said to my client, I said, I'm kind of iffy on this $1.5 million thing. And he said, I guarantee, famous words, I guarantee that it'll be at least that in each of the properties.
Okay. He was iffy on this thing, this $1.5 million thing.
So, well, you only know by... And when it comes to an appraisal, you have to call in the third party. So right. I work with the bank, and the bank gives me a list of about 10 guys with a lot of experience. Mm-hmm. And so I work with them, and we get them started on the process. Now, in the meantime, not to be caught flat-footed, which is usually part of my MO, is I will finish the balance of the underwriting, and then I'll take it to my compadres, and I'll say, this is what this should look like. And it's a real straightforward sketch in the form of a white paper, and then get their feedback. Okay, what do we need in order for you to participate in this loan? What do we need in order for you to buy this loan? Et cetera, et cetera. And as a result, I had those dialogues already started, and they said, well, at $1.5 million, we can go here, and we'll probably go to an LTV here. We want to see debt coverage of this.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So we've really got a nice target as to what we have to hit. Mm-hmm. And So I'm checking with my guy, my client, and I'm saying, you're really sure? And he says, I guarantee that it's going to be $1.5 million. And I said, if we don't get to those values, we're going to be in real trouble here.
Yeah.
I said, because, your bank made a decision to lend you money, and to pay them off, each one of these properties is going to have to come in like $1.6 million, $1.7 million, based on the feedback we've gotten from our guys about what percentage of it they're going to finance based on what your current ability, your capacity is in terms of your debt coverage.
Sure.
And, I'm not even worried about that, he said.
Uh-oh.
So about 45 days goes by, and the appraiser calls me on the phone, and he said, George, I don't know how to tell you this. He said, but we're nowhere close to $1.5 million. He said, I've tried everything, and I've gone back to that original appraisal, and he said, and I've got to tell you, he said, I don't know where that guy got those comps. I could never find them. And furthermore, he said, I just, I'm not there. I can't get there.
There's no way to get the numbers to work.
He said, based on replacement cost, he said,
which is usually high. Yeah.
There's a way to kind of calculate a replacement cost, the actual cost of construction to build those buildings.
Sure.
You can say, well, it's somewhere over here. It's up here a little ways.
Mm-hmm.
He said, there's no way. I said, what about the ground that it's on? I said, compared to other pieces of ground in the area, I said, can we start from there and kind of, he said, the value of just the raw dirt isn't even there. He said, he says, what I think is the guy got bamboozled by the contractor. The contractor charged him too much. As a result, the bank believed what the costs were to construct these 3 facilities. And he paid a lot more than he should have. He paid a lot more than he should have for the land. He paid a lot more for the construction than he should have.
That's interesting.
And the bank, looking at construction costs, naturally followed along and said, and I said, wow. I said, well, where are we? He said, I can get a range of between $625,000 and $675,000 per location.
Oy. Less than 50% what?
I said, well,
the guarantee.
That's just the building, right? You haven't added the land in. Right. And he said, no, sorry. They said that's all in. He said these prices in these areas have been depleted pretty substantially. You need to look at the comps, and there's other restaurants for sale, approximate square footage and what they've sold for. The kitchens are about the same size. They're outfitted about the same. He said there's just no way we're going to. So I called the client, and I said, this is where the numbers came in. And he said, there was silence, first of all.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he goes, what do you think we should do? And I said, well, first of all, we're going to have to share this with the bank. And I really don't want to go back forensically and figure out why you paid what you paid to build these buildings. But there obviously is an issue there.
Yeah,
a
root cause.
Which you probably need to think about as a separate business decision. But we're obviously going to have to look at structuring this differently, and probably coming in with some outside equity. Because your businesses are profitable. There's no question. These little restaurants were, I shouldn't say little, they're fairly decent size. He was making a lot of money. He was making a lot of money.
Interesting. That part of the equation was working, the operating side.
Very successful, yeah.
This is a real estate problem.
Yeah. So the end of the story is, the moral to the story is, when you're building something, you really need to have an eye towards cost. And you need to know what it costs to build things so that you can't get essentially bamboozled into paying way too much to build something. And second of all, when you're refinancing any piece of commercial real estate, you really need to know what your values are. You need to know well in advance. You need to be able to compare and reach out and touch a lot of these properties that are like kind and know what they, because his opinion was it was worth a minimum of $1.5 million. His opinion. The appraiser's opinion, based on raw facts,
Right.
was
Empirical evidence.
significantly less.
Unbelievable. And he
Know
didn't-
your values.
He didn't do his homework. He didn't know his values. And I like the distinction between cost of construction and what the market is doing. They're not coupled.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Exactly. Two different
George,
things.
as always. There's no end to Stupid Without a License, folks. You can find more at bhcapital.ltd.com. You can also go to justaskgeorgeradio.com. And, of course, this segment brought to you by the OE, which is...
OE.
Yes.
The
Tell
Opportunity
Tell us
Engine.
about the Opportunity Engine.
Inc.com.
OpportunityEngineInc.com. Quickly, if you will.
It's a business-to-business tool, both client and lead generation, that utilizes email broadcasting in a very unique way, targeting markets in a very, very, very progressive filtering system that really creates a connection to a relevant audience of what you've got.
Yep.
They want to see. And that's what the OE does, is connect you to them.
And they're doing this with, as I understand, through some pretty cool filters and iterations of sends and cleaning of lists, and there's some cool stuff going on.
There's the banking side, finance side, that's me.
Yes.
Steve Garth is the technical side.
Yes.
So he gets all that credit for figuring that stuff out, because most of the time when we're in meetings and he's telling me about it, I glaze over and have to be heavily medicated.
Look for us next time on Stupid Without a License, and within the framework of Just Ask George, many series to listen to. George, thanks again.
All right, buddy.
All right, we'll see you next time, folks.